Hi, my name is Nicole Velez and I'm a military wife and a mom of two little girls named Autumn and Celine. And let's get this series started. So, I want to talk about my pregnancy with Celine. Now, I went in to go get a yearly checkup for my woman wellness. It's required by state law. I need to take it through Medicaid. So that's what I did. To myself, wasn't like, oh, I don't feel like I'm married. I got this handle down. Works okay and all that jazz. But in reality, I was not okay. I missed my period. Like, I was like, Nicole, you're only 24. You have a 3-year-old and you're pregnant. How are you supposed to support 2 kids and a husband and yourself? 4 people in the room. So I was like, okay, well, gotta do A, B, and C, and then D, F, G might have to hold back. And I'm like, okay, school, work, that's it. And then you have all to take care of. Then you gotta be 10 to Hector 2, and at the time you're like, oh my gosh, what's next? So the next thing was that we decided, well, get back birth control, and that was my plan. But when I went to my OBGYN's office, they told me, like, well, I'm sad to say this to you, but you can't be on birth control anymore. I'm like, oh, why? Because I was confused. I'm like, you're pregnant. 100% pregnant. In my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take care of 4 people now. Because I was planning to go on back onto an IUD. And so they're like, well, you have 2 options. Either you don't have the baby, we can get an abortion, or we can get an adoption agency. I'm like, no, I can't do that. My husband's gonna kill me. Oh, you're married? Yeah, I'm married. Okay, do we need to have his permission? I'm like, that's what I mean. I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna do anything. Okay. Well, hope you have a great time and happy pregnancy. This is like the early part. I'm like so early. I'm like at least 4 weeks pregnant. So I'm like, okay, I gotta tell Hector. Hector, like, oh, we're gonna have dinner with a friend, which is Gabe. And I'm like, I gotta break your bubble. He's like, why? Well, I place to you. I'll tell you later on. Okay. Right when we were about to have dinner, when Gabe was in the bathroom, like, I really need to tell you something. I can't hold it anymore. What? And then Gabe came back, and I'm like, okay, I'll tell you later. Okay. When we dropped Gabe off, I was like, I need to talk to you in private. And this when Anna was sleeping, and I said, I really need to tell you. He's like, are you pregnant? And I'm like, yeah. Are you sure? You could be lying. I'm like, I'm not lying. I wish I was lying. And we got the sonogram, and there was a little baby inside me, the size of a period. On the computer, if you look at the period at the size 12 font, that's how tiny my baby was. How tiny Celine was. And she's like, it's growing. This is like 7 weeks, and like, oh my gosh. He's like, what do we do now? Nothing. Just wait for baby to grow. I told her due date. The ultrasound technician and my OBGYN were talking in another room, and they're discussing our due date because I was 7 weeks, and they're like, based on calculations, you're due April 22nd, 2018. I'm like, okay, we don't have enough time then. Yeah, we have enough time. Just calm down, do your thing. Then I'm like, wait until my mom comes back. We'll tell her then. Okay. Then I told mom, we're gonna have a baby. We don't know what the gender is still. And my mom's like, that's great. Tell my dad, yay, we're gonna have another grandchild. My family has some drama with my cousin, and I'm not gonna go into detail, but they were happy that was how we were gonna have another baby. My pregnancy, my first trimester throughout the whole thing was so terrible. It was just like throwing up constantly. I would throw up I was just like, I can't deal with it. I'm losing weight. About at 10 weeks pregnant, I lost about 5 pounds. And I'm like, okay, this is not too concerning, but I just lost weight, about 5 pounds, because I was very nauseous. I vomited everywhere. I was late to work. I was late to class. I didn't have no energy to take Autumn to daycare, and I'm like, you know what? I need help with all that stuff. So I had to sit down with Hector and my mom. At the time we were living with my mom. I told both my mom and my husband, hey, I need help. I know I could do this, but I really need help. I'm throwing out in the bathroom. I'm trying to eat. Everything sounds gross right now. I need help to take Autumn to school and to pick her up, because sometimes I'm throwing up in the bathroom still all day and I have no energy to go to class. I don't have no energy to go to work. So at this point, I was in my mind, it was during, I think, October. And I was telling them, hey, I know I've been calling out a lot. And because of my illness, I try to help ease it down by not thinking about it. My boss told me that she's going to let me go just because I was too risky for my job. She think medically I couldn't do it, and I'm like, my doctor and I discussed this, that I got fired from my job. My OB/GYN was like, you know what? Before I started putting on medication with this, I was thinking about what you do some natural remedies, which is ginger. Eat some ginger. That's what he told me. And I'm like, okay, where can I get ginger at? At your local grocery store. You can put it in tea, water. You can put it with your food. You can make it with ginger snaps. You can have ginger beer. It had to be non-alcoholic, obviously, and you can have ginger ale. But it gotta have ginger in there. Can't be the fake stuff. So I told my husband, like, I am craving for ginger snaps. He gave me some ginger snaps. He's like, okay. He goes to Trader Joe's and he got me these big old ginger bites. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. I ate 2 of them a day for breakfast. And then saltine crackers along with that. And a cup of water. I told him, I just want water. I don't want tea or coffee or milk. I just want water. Okay. So we did that, and that was the only thing that kept me to stop throwing up. For the rest of my meals, I just gotta eat small bites, like just like a hamburger. After 2 hours, I would just have like a small half a sandwich. Just eat that, and that'll be good. And another 2 more hours, I'll have something else. Every 2 hours, I'll eat, and that's how I had to deal with. And that's kept me going. And of course, I was doing a nomination band. I played the cymbals, and I played the bass drum. Now you're like, you know how heavy that is? Yeah, I know how heavy it is, but it's not that bad, not heavy yet. But the band director was like, okay, when you can't handle it, I want you to switch over to the cymbals. Okay? Done deal. No question. You understand that? I'm like, yes. Because I know you're pregnant. I'm like, please don't tell anyone yet. Okay, I won't tell anyone. But afterwards, I'm going to tell him. But that's on me. I'll tell him personally. Okay. Just let me know when you need help or anything like that. Okay. So, I marched from September, October, and that was it. I couldn't do any more else. I was so tired, and I was one patient to my classes. At that time, I was only going to school and doing Instacart, and that's about it. And during my second trimester, things were a little more ease, but again, I kept throwing up. Moistness was still there, as usual. Early, and it's usually my morning sickness for my first and second trimester is early in the morning. It's like starting from midnight all the way to 9 a.m., maybe noon. And then it'll stop from noon to 3, and then right at dinner time is when it will start kicking in, because I smell food cooking, and my aversion was food cooking, like cooking smell, like smoke. And if someone's cooking in the kitchen, I was just like, I just lost my appetite. I will not eat anything. I'm sorry. I'm gonna grab my ginger bites and go and get out of the house. And that's when I'm like, okay, are you guys ordering food? I'm sorry. I was so sick to my stomach. I was like, I'm gonna throw up. So all the cooking, I went outside. Every time someone's cooking, I'm in my bedroom or outside doing my homework or taking a walk with my daughter, just to get out of the house, just not smelling any cooking food. I did not like to look at raw meat. I want to throw it out too. Raw meat was just like, nope, no meat. Especially chicken. I love chicken. I eat chicken all the time, and I wasn't that bad when it comes to chicken when I was not pregnant. And somehow went down the drain, just like my aversions. At this time, I didn't have any craving until my third trimester. So forget that. I just ate salads, soup, and that's it. And the doctor knows that. He was like, okay. I was mostly eating soup for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My mom's like, okay. What kept me going? And also I didn't take my prenatal vitamins. I couldn't take it. I just could not take it. I tried the gummy, I tried the pill, I tried the smaller pills, I tried candy coated. I tried everything to get this thing down, including water. I chugged Gatorade, and I still throw it up. I try everything, and I'm like, at this point, I am just going to forget it. But my mom said to force myself to take it as much as I can. I'm like, I can't take it. I'm gonna throw it up. But with my mom's help, she gave me a cup of milk, and she told me to chug it. It was like a little small. It was like this big, I guess. No, half of this cup, like literally half of this cup, fill it with milk. I'll take it and chug the whole thing with milk, because I'm not allergic to milk. I'm not lactose intolerant. So chug the whole thing of milk. I was fine until I get to school. That's when I was like, oh my gosh, I regret taking that pill. But my friends made ginger snaps every time I go over there. But I had really bad food aversion. I just don't like smells. And also, laundry detergent, I was just so sensitive with scent. Anything that smells really floral, anything really high fragrance, really very fragrancy, that have really high doses of fragrance, I just like, no. That's why to this day, I always wash my clothes with Clear and Free, Tide, All, and so on. And then my third trimester, I was getting a little better. I was eating more food. I want hamburger, hot dogs, steak, and I want a medium well. But I can't have a medium well because no pink. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to see pink. So I'm like, well done. And I did not like it because the people who cooked it either make it too dry or it's too hard to cut through. Like I have a really sharp knife to bring with me. I was very swollen. Like, my legs were swollen. My feet were swollen, my ankles were swollen. My fingers were not swollen, thankfully. But everything else was just swollen. My legs was just swollen. I was kicking up. I have no soap. And again, this happened to my first pregnancy too. They said it's just water. You drink a lot of water. I know it's mostly water, right? All your weight is mostly water weight. And then when I was 35 weeks pregnant, I got into a car crash. The lady was high with her medication. She was speeding through a school zone, 45 miles per hour, and it says on the thing 15 miles per hour. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go cross. This lady will zoom by and she hit me. She hit my car. I didn't hit her. She hit my car. And then she tried to say it's my fault. Well, it's never my fault. She said it was she said that I'm the one who did it. I'm like, no. I had the stop sign. Yes, I did. But guess what? I was clear to go. I looked both ways and went through all that stuff. So, and I was going to training too for my daycare job that I got. So, at this point, we still didn't know how the baby's gender. And so, we went to the maternity ward and we told them, hey, I was in a car crash, and they're like, oh my gosh, so what happened? And I explained to them what happened, and they're like, oh my gosh, people are so dumb these days. So it was like really scary because I didn't feel any contractions, but there's contractions I could see going. They're not so bad to the point where I have to breathe through them or not talk. I can talk through them. But today, you okay? I'm like, I'm fine, because you're having contractions right now. I'm like, oh, I don't feel them. I feel like they're just my muscle tightened because I was in a car crash. Like, that could be it too, because they told me that they're gonna just wait. And we waited. Hector, my husband, came by. He's like, he drove me to the hospital, obviously. We just waited and waited and waited and waited. And for they told me I had to stay in a hospital for 8 hours. So from 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 p.m. we got out. He's like, I'm hungry. I didn't eat any lunch. I'm like, we should go eat. We got lunch from home. We just ate in the hospital, which is fine. And watched the baby, and we're like, okay. Around hour 4 into it, they're like, we're gonna go take it. The OBGYN wants an ultrasound of the baby. We just want to see how she is doing. You could be out of here before 5 p.m., maybe 6. Okay. So we went to the ultrasound technician, took us back with my husband and I, and she's like, do you want to know? And then she's like, okay, baby, looks good. Everything looks good. And she's like, do you know the gender of the baby? I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah. Do you want to know? I look at my husband. He's like, do you want to know? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. The moment that she said it was a girl, that she is a girl, I was like, I knew it. She's like, on the screen, like, what's this mean? I'm like, Hector, do you know? He's like, it looks like a hamburger bun. So when you look at the girl's bottom, it looks like 2 hamburger patties. So like this. And here's the organ of it. And I'm like, it's a girl. We're having a girl. And he's like, what? You're having a girl. But as a boy, it looked like a hot dog. So you can obviously tell. And we're like, oh my goodness, we're having a girl. So during my baby shower and the gender reveal, we're having another girl, a little girl named, and we're deciding name, and I'm like, I don't like Celine. I don't like the name Celine. I straight up told him that, and he's like, well, I like it. And I'm like, okay, rock, paper, scissors. We did 3 rounds. He won. And he's like, okay, Dad, I picked a middle name. Okay. And I like Eva, which means life in Hebrew. And I really told him, like, I really want to name my daughter Valerie. And it's my grandma's name. And he's like, I don't like that name, so sorry. Well, that's just me. But my pregnancy was pretty good all the way until April 12th. That's when I had baby girl. I'll talk to you about my birth journey later on, but thank you for listening. And yes, your second pregnancy will be the hardest. Sometimes it can be the hardest and sometimes it could be easiest, but my second pregnancy was the hardest one. Again, thank you for watching. If you need any more questions about how Autumn feels, I will make another video with that. Another video for that, sorry. Please give this a thumbs up, subscribe, click that bell button, and we'll see you next time. Bye!